But speaking of dumbass decisions made by corporate entities that affect everyone that's not shareholders, next story that we have. So, Game Pass price hikes. Microsoft doing everything they can to fuck Xbox up. And I'm not being console warrior-ish and stuff like that. But I think it's probably for us as FPS gamers, and for me, who, when they announced this price hike, and I was like, you know what, I'm going to go down to the middle tier because there's no way I'm paying that money for, the upper tier. And suddenly lost access to Doom the Dark Ages, where I was on the final boss. There are so many...
Day one release.
Exactly, yes. There are so many indie FPS
It's because it's
games
a high-profile
Game
game.
Pass and that sort of thing. Yeah, yeah.
That does suck because you'd think maybe there's like a not a statute of limitations, but like a period at which something is no longer a day one release. Like, right, because it's been out forever, however long. I guess if it's been a day one release, it's no longer available.
So Ultimate, it just pretty much covers the first party games and bigger games for the most part. I mean, like Adamfall was like a day one. It was day one on Game Pass, and it was only on Ultimate. Yeah. Any third party game that they do is typically on there. The stuff that's on like the lower tiers, all the way down to like the $10 tier, is all like typically somewhat older games, even of their own first party games, or smaller indie games. And your breadth of variety and your options to play becomes smaller with those tiers. And it's very interesting because I was actually talking to now my brother-in-law. He was talking about the price hike because he already pays, I don't know if he pays monthly or yearly or whatever, so I think monthly, and they're still allowing him to have the previous like $15 price a month until next year, since he was already previously a member before it goes to 30 or something like that. And he was talking about, he's like, it's crazy, it feels wrong for it to be $30 a month. And I was sitting here thinking, I'm like, well, while I say yes, it is steep, once upon a time, Ultimate was $10. Ultimate was $12. Ultimate was $15. Ultimate was $20. And then, or whatever, 15 and then to 30. And I kind of try to look at it because Game Pass is basically a streaming service for video games. Streaming services continue to constantly up their price all the time. Yeah. The most expensive one, hands down, is Netflix. Netflix charges like literally $20 for the 4K package, and with no ads or whatever. It's $20, which is the most expensive streaming service out there. It does have other tiers that are lower quality or have ads. So, like, I think it's like HBO Max is like 15, Paramount's 12 or 15, 14 or something like that. They all vary. And a lot of them have ranges, right? Well, the comparison point here is that, like, okay, a streaming service, which let's just say, I mean, they have more movies than games, right? They have more TV shows than games. Shit's been around way longer. And it's been being a thing for way longer. Okay. But you can definitely watch more movies in a year than you can play video games in a year. And so, if you bring it down to, you're paying $30 a month now, that is the new price for Ultimate, which is getting the max amount of games, the day one releases, the early access to games, whatever, the first party stuff, and all these things. And you have like 200-300 games that you can play at any given time during the month that you have this. And an average indie game costs anywhere from, average one on there is probably going to be anywhere between $10 and $30 for an indie. AA, you're looking at $30 to $50. AAA, it's obviously 70 plus now. So for $30, you could play 3 $10 indie games and you got your money's worth. You could play one AAA game that month and you have your money's worth. You could play 3 AAA games and just cancel it. You know what I mean? Like if you could play that many in a month. At the end of the day, it just depends on what it is. No, I'm not even saying a per hour basis. I'm just saying that it depends on the person. So it's like $30 a month is a lot of money, but it's also not a lot for what you're getting. So if you could play 3 indie games in a month that are $10 a piece if you tried to buy them by yourself, or you played 3 $20 indie games, regardless, for the price that you would have to pay outside of the membership, it's still cheaper. And if you play one AAA game, you're literally playing it for less than 50% off. And if you play it for 2 months, then you're still paying like 10% less than the full price of the AAA game for 2 months. Yeah. And I think you can beat one AAA game in 2 months, and that's $60. So it's cheaper either way. I mean, there's more I can say, but yeah, I'll let you guys go ahead.
I get where you're coming from, but how do you think that it's going to affect visibility for FPS games on there, both AAA and
FPS games?
Apparently, they lost $300 million on Call of Duty, and this is one of the things that led to the price increase, because that executive, I've forgotten who reported on it, but apparently, Xbox head brass, I've forgotten her name, Amy something or other, said you guys now need to start making 30% margin, and the industry average is like 20%. And a lot of it was because of this Activision thing, and then they lost so much money on the last Call of Duty game that it's now affected the entire Game Pass and Xbox ecosystem, which now affects some of the smaller games that are coming to Game Pass and rely on it because they're going to have reduced audiences now.
Maybe.
Wasn't enough.
I mean, so I don't think...
to kill a take or two.
I don't think... So, like, indie and AA games are not being affected by the price hike or by anything remotely involved with Game Pass. Indie games are cheaper, and indie developers are getting paid X amount of money to be on there, and their margin for profit is significantly lower than like a AA or AAA studio. And any eyes on an indie is better than 0 eyes. So there's absolutely nothing in Game Pass, because like even if right now less people go and pay for it monthly, which I highly doubt that the number of people paying for it monthly is going to change at all. People are just going to keep paying for it, just like they keep paying for Netflix and they keep paying for everything else that they pay for. Because at the end of the day, they actually don't give a shit. They just want to complain about it.
Well,
I really do genuinely think that no one's going to change. Go ahead.
Let me hold you up there. Remember, the website crashed like the next week because of how many people were canceling, rushed to cancel just on principle alone, for no other reason.
Of the Xbox app?
The
Did that happen right after the increase?
Crashing because people... Yes.
Yeah, I couldn't get on there to change the subscription because it was literally just not loading up on there. So it may not be people that are actually cancelling. Yeah. It could be people like me that were trying to change their subscription tier as well. But when you got that much traffic,
that's obviously